Hey, Wholagunz, what's in Madrid here doing a astrology reading for you. So you didn't give me your time, date, or place of birth, but I'm gonna guess you're probably born about 1224, November 10th, 1992, maybe a little bit ahead, or yeah, but about that time. So get started with the reading. So first of all, your rising sign. Firstly, you're Scorpio, and in Chinese astrology, you are born in the year of the monkey. So firstly, your rising sign is in Aquarius. So this will give you a facade, someone who's quite friendly, someone who's curious, someone who talks to a lot of people, and someone who might be a little bit aloof or a little bit more unique or individual, someone who's quite independent. You're someone who probably stands out from the crowd a little bit because you're a bit quirky or because yeah, you just have something that's a little bit different about you. You don't like to follow the trends that much, and you're someone who also might seem a bit serious, or someone who might seem very stubborn or opinionated, or sort of very rigid in a regard when people first meet you. Your sun sign is in Scorpio. Now, Sun in Scorpio characters are generally quite intense. They're very emotional, and they're sort of a still waters run deep sort of character. So you're someone who tends to have very strong emotions, someone who has very love-hate relationships with things, and someone who's quite serious about life. You want to do something, you want to do it well, and yeah, you probably have a lot of drive and a lot of passion behind you when it comes to your life and what you want to do. Next planet is your moon. So moon is generally about your inner behavior, your inner needs, inner desires, your emotional state, and your heart. It represents your emotions. Now, having moon in Taurus is very good because Taurus is a very stable, it's very friendly, it likes to find things in life, it has a nice sense of humor, it's very basic in the sense that um, it's not arrogant, it's not pretentious, it's real and it's solid. And having Moon here will give you a very friendly sort of characteristic. It'll make you someone who's very easy to talk to, it'll make you someone who's quite friendly, it'll make you someone who other people can rely on. And when people talk to you, they'll probably feel that it's always very good talking to you because you are very solid and because you are so dependable. Now, the problem with having Sun in Scorpio and Moon in Taurus is that they're on the opposite sides of the astrology wheel, and you basically will find conflict with your personality and your emotions. So, whilst your personality, you may feel that you don't want to talk about superficial things. You want to get to the core of the matter. You want to be very incisive. You want to be very precise. You don't want to waste any time. You want to have a lot of focus, a lot of intensity when you're talking to someone. Your moon in Taurus will prefer to be more relaxed, more laid back. You want to make them feel comfortable. You want to take them out for coffee or a nice meal, drink some wine. Whereas there would be a side of you which just wants to get the task done. You don't really care that much about superficial things like sort of, you don't want to make small talk, how their day was, all that doesn't really matter. What you want to talk about is the heart of the matter. But then your moon in Taurus will want to make that person feel comfortable. You'll want to, have a nice meal or find somewhere that has good atmosphere. Yeah, and you might just find this conflict in your life, not just when it comes to talking to people. You might also find it when it comes to, say, hosting, a birthday party, or choosing what job you want, or choosing friends, or what you want to do on the weekend, yeah, you probably feel this conflict quite often. It's sort of this push and pull energy that sort of pushes you towards something, but there's always another part of you which doesn't really want that, and yeah, you might feel that conflict. Next is your Mercury. So Mercury represents your mind. It represents communication, logic, and yeah, anything to do with the brain or the basic functions of the brain, basically. And having Mercury in Sagittarius is not the best place. It will, however, probably give you an interest in philosophy, in theories, and astrology. The Mercury is a planet that is about being very clear, being very precise. It's about communicating basic ideas. It's about basic functions like doing simple math equations, or figuring out how to cook a meal or follow instructions. Whereas Sagittarius is a very broad, it's a very large sort of sign. It's all about bigger philosophies, overall arching schemes of life. It's about the meaning of life. And having Mercury here might give you a very idealistic or very theoretical sort of mind. Like, you might not be very practical when it comes to day-to-day activities. You might have very broad ideas, very general ideas, and you're probably not too good when it comes to finer detail. Next, your Venus is also in Sagittarius. So Venus is about relationships, it's about money and friendships, any sort of relationships, not just romantic ones. And having Venus in Sagittarius again makes you someone who's very straightforward, makes you someone who's very direct. You are very blunt. You are very You're not very coy. You don't hide your intent or what you want to say. You say it very directly, and it might scare some people a little bit. You're not very full of tact. Yeah, just very straightforward overall. Very extroverted, very confident, very ambitious, very yeah. You aim high, and you want to aim for a sort of larger than life character. Next, your Mars is in Cancer. Now, Cancer is a very protective, defensive, caring sort of sign, and Mars is about masculine properties. It's about urgency, drive, aggression, rage, anger, anything that's sort of abrupt or unexpected, or not so much that, but more just drive, force, a very fiery sort of planet. And having Mars and Cancer is not the best, because they sort of counteract the effects of each other. So what you might find is, when you get into an argument, you might become very defensive, or you might not know how to express your anger, or you might not know how to sort of fully unleash your anger or emotional signs, and you might not have an outlet for all your frustrations in life. You might just have this sort of retarded anger fury sense. So you might have a lot of pent up anger, or you might be very wounded, but you just don't know how to get that out of your system because you're so defensive. Next, the planet is Jupiter. So Jupiter is about your larger goals in life and what you want to do, when it comes to, say, things like university, or opening a business, or taking risk, or doing sort of the go-getting things in life, being very positive. And when it comes to Libra, Libra is quite a refined sign. It likes things in life to be nice. It can be a little bit lazy. It is generally indecisive. So when it comes to the bigger things in life, you might become a little bit too theoretical. You might not be very practical when it comes to deciding what you want to do in your life. And yeah, you might have a hard time sort of securing a job or choosing what degree you want to do because you maybe you're very indecisive, or you just want something that's nice and you want something that you feel will make you happy and you have a hard time finding it. Yeah, so next planet is Saturn. So you have your Saturn in your Aquarius, and it's quite near your rising sign. So it Saturn is all about restriction, discipline, tact, thrift, and reality, time, being cautious, self-discipline, and having that net so close to a rising sign will yeah, go towards you having a very serious facade. Having Saturn in Aquarius will give you somewhat of a very highly moral, highly, you have a very strong sense of, say, the law. You have a very strong sense of human rights and how people should live. And you might look down or judge other people who don't have as high morals as you, or as high of sort of your sort of vision for humanity or human rights or equality, that sort of thing. And it can also make you very stubborn when it comes to anything regarding to human rights or your opinions. You might have very strong opinions that other people have a hard time changing because, yeah, Saturn in Aquarius, it's a very stern planet in a very fixed and stubborn sort of sign. And yeah, being born in the year of monkey gives you an ability to manipulate people. It gives you very good crowd control. People listen to you, you present yourself well, you're very good at talking to people, you have very refined social skills, you know how to instruct other people to do things. You can generally be in charge of a small crowd. You don't like to be under pressure too much, you don't like to take very large risks, but you generally like to play with smaller sort of scales of communities or groups of people, and you're quite playful in general. So yeah, that's your reading, and if you have any questions, let me know.